about a session on things I wish I knew in my 20s. We've been going over a ton of topics on this topic, but one in particular I want to share today is the idea of work-life balance. So if that sounds interesting to you, like this, share this with someone. And specifically, if you know somebody, if you are somebody that is in their 20s and you feel this could benefit them, definitely share this with them as well too. But I think one topic that I struggle with, not even just in my 20s, but I think still to this day, I wonder if you would agree, is the topic of work-life balance. Growing up, I was very big on the life side. I remember when I got into college in the very beginning, I joined a fraternity, and it was like every day was a party. In fact, in our fraternity, we would actually name separate days of the week for an excuse just to party. We had Wednesday night drinking club, for example. We had a Thirsty Thursdays. We had Fantastic Fridays. We had a party on Saturday and a party on Sunday, right? So we had a bunch of play, right? So I was kind of on that extreme. But then on the other side, I got into business and I felt like I needed to sacrifice and hustle and grind. And when I eventually got to a certain place, then maybe I could enjoy more. And to be honest, I went to the flip side and I went very, very extreme on the work side, where I felt almost guilty playing. And to be honest, for a long time, like I didn't know. It was weird. It's like when I was playing, I would think about work. When I was working, I was thinking about playing. And it was like this weird juggle. And at the end of the day, it really tore up my soul, tore up my spirit, until I started to realize some certain things about this work-life balance thing. And I wonder if that's something that you have ever struggled with as well too. So I want to discuss that topic today, throw down some ideas and see what you guys think as well. But I think it's important that we understand both work and life, both work and play are super important. In fact, if you're someone of faith, it's in the original design. When God built this world, if you believe, well, he built this world for work. God is a creator, so he created. But at the same time, he wanted to live. He rested. If you notice, just around the world, we just came back from Tahiti, and we were just around the most beautiful islands and the most beautiful water and the most beautiful, luscious, most incredible places. You just look to that and you're like, not everything has to just be work as well too. There's a lot of beauty in life. There's a lot of play in life, right? Like life is meant to be enjoyed at the same time as well too. That's okay. So I started to realize some certain things about work and play. But if you've ever struggled with work and life balance, put a 1 in the chat if that's you. If that's not just me out there, I know I've struggled there. And I want to discuss some things because I wish I knew this in my 20s, because I think I would have enjoyed a lot more. I would have enjoyed a lot more. Here's a couple things to consider. Number one big purpose of life is work. I think sometimes when we think about work, we think it's a struggle. We think that it's a grind. We have these words like hustle, right? And as we go through our work, it's like this feeling of, oh, I got to sacrifice right now. I got to pay my price right now just to make a living, just to get by, just to get through the class, just to get out there in the world. And it's like we're struggling this entire time with work. Let's say the average person works a 9 to 5, and they work at least 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. Now I think it's a lot more, to be honest, with side hustles and other jobs and things like that. I was talking with someone today. She told me she works 3 jobs. I'm like, dang, that's intense, right? So if this work thing is such a big aspect of our life, we have to look at it in a different way. But work by itself does not have to be suffering. Work should be purposeful. Work should be impactful. Work is not what we have to do to get paid. Work is what we get to do. It's a God-given thing. We've all been given unique giftings and talents and opportunities to be able to work, to serve, to create, to do something out there. And when we start to reframe work, I used to think that studying and work was just a sacrifice. But then when I started to realize there's a greater purpose to work, that there's a purpose to that, there's an impact to that it brings out a part of you. You're most like your creator when you're creating, is the saying. That when you're working, it should be something of joy. Now, there's going to be tough times to work. There's going to be things that you don't like to do. There's going to be times that are a struggle. But for the majority of the time, if we look at work in a way that it's something that we get to do, not just that we have to do. I think it's going to actually help us a lot with dealing with this at least 8 hours of a day thing that we do. Might as well enjoy what it is that you're doing there. I wonder what you think about that. So work is not just to get paid, but work is something that we get to do. I think that's important, right? And when we do work, like, do it well. Do it well. It's something that builds you up. If you notice anybody that's ever had to go retirement, for example, I've seen this in the business world. They build up a company, they build up a business, they make a lot of money, they retire. And while it seems exciting to retire from work and never have to work again, very soon, like within weeks of them retiring and not working at all, you will see how bored and depressed people get, right? Like, the goal should not go to a retirement home in your life. The goal should be able to find work that's meaningful and impactful in your life so you can enjoy that, right? And thanks so much for the follow. So number one, when it comes to work-life balance, I think it's important that work is okay. Work is great. Work is something to be enjoyed. But at the same time, only work is not the place to be at as well too. There is also time to play. I think the old saying is, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Right? Do people still say that? Or Jill a dull girl? So all work and no play, that's just as bad as well too. Because the soul and the spirit needs revival. It needs recuperation. It needs rest. Just like when you're in the gym. I wish I knew this because I used to grind 24/7. I used to pride myself that I'd wake up to a calendar that was just filled with no empty space. There was no margin. It was literally like 8 till faint, just boom, just grind as much as I could. And the goal was to fill in the empty spaces and the empty minutes even on my calendar with as much productive stuff as possible. And I quickly realized that that was really, really painful. That was such a stressful thing. Like it robs you of joy, it robs you of energy when you start to understand that life isn't only about work, but life is also about play as well too. Play is something that is given to us. Enjoyment is something that is given to us. Desire and pleasure and really understanding this and being able to enjoy life, the fruits of your labor, is a part of life. So when we don't celebrate, when we don't enjoy, when we don't look around at the beauty that's there, when we don't just take it in on a consistent basis, it literally is feeling like you're enslaved by work, you're enslaved by life, and that by itself is not a fun thing as well too. Once again, we just came back from Tahiti. We won a company incentive trip, and if you've never been to Tahiti, you got to go. It's like the most beautiful place in the world. I was asking my friends that went to both Tahiti and Hawaii, I said, which place is better? They said, oh man, Tahiti, bar none. And no offense to Hawaii, love Hawaii for sure, but you're just in there and literally you're surrounded by crystal blue waters. You're hearing the sounds of nature. You're taking a look at all the lush greenery that's around there. You look at the beautiful skies. You see the culture of a population that is just so family driven and so humble and so joyous. You're eating the ripe fruit that they have that's over there, and you're enjoying these types of experiences. And you start to realize, like, it's important that you revitalize your soul and your spirit on a consistent basis. Work and play are so important together. When you work, you then can enjoy your play better because you feel like you deserved that rest. You feel like you've thrown it down on the line. You're proud of who you've become and what it is that you're doing. But then when you rest, you also can recuperate and you can enjoy that beauty that's around you. You know, so when it comes to rest, when it comes to play, I used to feel super guilty about that. I used to feel like when I was playing, I'd feel like this could be my time to get ahead. This could be my time to grind more. This is when when people are playing, that's when I shouldn't be sleeping and I should be doing more. That's an unhealthy place to look at work. And I think a lot of people grind themselves into misery and depression when they start to not allow themselves that ability to enjoy. So I started to realize there is a purpose for work and there is a purpose for play. Both are in the same spectrum. You both need all of them. You just need a little bit of a balance of them. But enjoy when you're able to play. Now, I also understood this as well too, okay, is that there are seasons of work and there's seasons of play. There's seasons of work, there's seasons of play. Work-life balance is a term that people talk about these days. And it's like it's impossible to balance it because you can't manage time. But what you will have is you'll have seasons of work. Maybe you have a project, maybe you have a business plan that you're working on, or you're hyper focused, you're hyper grinding, right? But then you have a season of play. You have a place where you can recuperate. You have a place where you can step back a little bit. You have a place where you can rest and you can sleep and you can really, really recuperate yourself. I think it's important to understand that it's okay to have this spectrum. It's okay that there's times that you work a lot. It's okay that you have times that you play more. But the grand balance of life, ultimately, there is that balance. And in fact, even in the course of your week, I think there should be a balance as well. God had it where it was 6 days labor, 1 day rest. 6 days labor, 1 day rest, to remind us that every now and then we do need rest. Rest is important. It's just like when you're working out in the gym, the way to build up more muscle is you tear it down by working it out hard. And then what happens is when you rest, you get the right nutrition, you get the right nourishment. That is when you build up your muscles to be stronger again. So when we work in the day, when we work in the week, and we rest during the day and we rest during the week, yeah, definitely gave us a Sabbath to rest. Super, super important. It's important. Yes, Etienne, I am cold. Yeah, we're back here in San Francisco and it's like 50 degrees, which is cold for us. Etienne is from Canada, so that's nothing for him, you know? We were just hanging out in Tahiti together, so I'm talking about Tahiti, work and play, right? To be able to have the balance of both, to be able to enjoy both of them, right? But to make sure that in the day and during the week, you have these rest periods, I think is important. You know, in the day, I like to make sure now that I have a margin in my morning, right? I wake up and I don't touch my phone. You're going at -10. That is nuts. Wow. Yeah. I want to make sure I have margin in my day. So you have to schedule it in. I think it's important if you look at your calendar that you have times of margin scheduled in. I have to schedule it, right? In my morning, I don't touch my phone. I don't talk to anybody. I'm just there and I'm doing my quiet time and I'm doing my reading and I'm doing my workout or whatever that it is so I can rest a little bit. At lunchtime, I make it a goal so I can put my phone to the side and I can actually speak and eat with my wife. I can actually talk with her, right? We can look each other in the eyes and actually connect. Thanks so much for the share and the follows, guys. In the evening, I've turned on my phone on airplane mode. Do you guys use airplane mode? You know, do you want to use airplane mode? It's such a big, big thing. So at nighttime, I turn on airplane mode and I make sure that I don't get distracted and I can actually rest and I can enjoy some time with my wife and I can enjoy some deep conversations, right? Yeah, pray, read the Bible, give God first, 1,000%. 1,000%. So God designed it this way, that we have work and rest, that we have work and play. And things I wish I knew this in my 20s because I struggled with the spectrum of working way too much, never enjoying, never playing, never actually experiencing the fruit of life until it's way too late. You know, so doesn't matter where you're at right now, doesn't matter what your accomplishments are, doesn't matter what age you are, doesn't matter what you're doing. We can all design a life now where we live with joy, we live with purpose, we live with impact. If you just understand that work and life are meant to be together, work and play are meant to be together, and you can find that spectrum, you can find that balance, you know? So I hope that encourages you. If it does, share this, like this with somebody as well too. Tag somebody that is in their 20s if you found this to be helpful. But on that, I'll be continuing the series on things that I wish I knew in my 20s. Let me know what you think in the comments below.